You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is July 18th, 2022 meeting of the Michigan City Board of Works and Safety meeting. You can find more information on this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the Michigan City Board of Works and Public Safety to order this 18th day. Everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the Michigan City Board of Works and Public Safety to order this 18th day. Everyone. Call the meeting of the Michigan City Board. This is crazy. It's no problem. As I was saying, I'd like to call this meeting of the Board of Works and Public Safety to order this 18th day of July 2022. And we still have a problem. Present are Mayor Dwayne Perry, Mr. Michael Vincent, and myself, Virginia Keating. We have a quorum. First item on the agenda. First item on the agenda. Is the approval of minutes of the regular hybrid Zoom meeting of July 5th, 2022. Are there any corrections?
None here, Madam
Then
Chair.
do I have a motion?
Make a motion, we approve.
Support.
Call for the vote. Mayor Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Vincent,
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. I am going to call the next item out of order. The special purchase request. Marty Corley, Michigan City Police Department Assistant Chief of Operations, is requesting permission for a special purchase for equipment for police vehicles, Waymere Fleet Service to install the equipment, minor electric, and police decals, MC Mad Rappers. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam President. Good morning, Board. Requesting special purchase reference the 12 police vehicles. 11 Dodge Durangos and 1 Dodge Ram 1500. Total price for the equipment would be $98,564.83. And then also requesting to get services provided to install equipment from Minor Electronics for all 12 vehicles for a total of $38,287.60. And also to put the decals on, the police decals on the vehicles from MC Mad Rappers for a total of $7,500. The decals should be on 10 vehicles. The Dodge Ram and one of the Dodge Durangos will not decal.
Okay.
So I think the total was roughly 100 and total for everything asked is $144,352.43.
Okay, and these are the previously leased vehicles that we approved?
Yes, up to 2022 vehicles and also minor Waymere and Minor and MC Mad Rappers, all places we've used for the past and compatible with what we have now with our vehicles.
Thank you. Is there any public comments? Board comment?
None here, Madam Chair.
No. I'll make a motion, we approve.
Support.
Okay, then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Vincent,
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Good luck out there.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep, I'm on that. Next item on the agenda is a request for signage. Councilman Michael Mack, 201 Roberta Avenue, is requesting signage to be placed on the curve where Raymond Avenue turns into Henry Street warning the public of the curve ahead for the safety of children and residents. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, board. Come here today requesting some sort of signage or remedy for a corner in the neighborhood of the Knapp School area. What I've noticed personally is that there's a lot more, I guess, renters, and there's a lot more children in that neighborhood than there used to be. And the corner, it's where two streets abut. So if you're going south on Ohio and right after the DAV, it's a right turn, the first right turn. If you're coming out of the Strebel Pond on the south end where it meets Earl Road, and you take a right turn there, it's the first left. That's Raymond. If you're coming from Henry, where the corner meets and the streets change, and it's not a corner, it's like a curve, but it's practically a corner. You can see the upcoming curve. But if you're coming from Raymond, you don't see that curve until you ride up on it. And I personally believe that a lot of these people are new to the areas, because I go that route and I have to go like 5-6 miles an hour. A resident wrote me last week on this. Let me just read her note real quick. I'm a resident on Henry Street. I live right before the curve that turns into Ramian. We have a lot of children in this area that are playing outside, riding bikes, playing ball, etc. The cars coming from Ramian speed around the curve so fast they end up on the left side of the road, almost hitting cars parked on that side. The kids do their best to keep an eye out, but have almost been hit numerous times. We need something to slow these drivers down before kids gets hurt or worse. And I think anybody that ever rides down that street will see, and I don't know if there's some small sign, but it doesn't really, it doesn't say slow your speed down, and it doesn't say, like 5 miles an hour. Is that what I think is appropriate for that area? So if there's a way we can have a look at that and, get the ball rolling to address that, children playing in the area, because there are a lot of children, a lot more than there used to be, really.
Thank you, Councilman. Captain?
Morning, Captain Jeff Lineski, Traffic Division. I did look at the intersection. It's kind of a unique intersection. It's two streets, two residential streets that intersect in more of a 140-degree angle. So it's not a true intersection. So I think it is kind of confusing, especially if you don't live there and you're from out of town, you're not aware that there's a curve ahead that you need to slow down to negotiate that turn. So I would recommend approval of the request. Specifically, we're looking at probably a curve sign, what's approved by the MUTCD, along with an advisory sign that would be something similar to this that says curve, and then we would probably make it 15 miles an hour. I don't think that the MUTCD would allow for reducing it down to 5. I would need to speak with Mr. Minnick about that, but I would recommend approval of the request. If you approve it, I'll work with Mr. Minnick to install the appropriate signage.
Thank you very much. Is there any public comments? Any board comments?
I'll make a motion to approve, Madam Chair,
I'll second.
following Captain Lineski's recommendation
Thank you.
on the type of signs.
Okay, then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda is a request for honorary street sign. Latricia Falls is requesting the placement of an honorary street sign in the name of Coach Robert Bear Falls at the entrance of Westcott Park and Michigan Boulevard to read Bear Falls Way. Is there anybody here to address this?
This is Tommy Kolovic from 1316 Ohio Street. This should have been done a long time. Bear Falls, he's one of the greatest men that I've ever known in my life. I say he touched a lot of our lives. He was he went above and beyond the call of duty. He was more than just a teacher or a coach or administrator. To a lot of those students and the players he coached, he was like their dad. He was their father figure. He was just one of those type of people that made everybody's life better just by knowing him. We need more people like Bear Falls. This world will be a much better place. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy.
Rodney McCormick, 617 Union Street. It's a long time coming. should have been done. Something should have been said, done, and put up. It's a great idea. He's from that area. We honor people that don't even live in that neighborhood or in that area. This is a great opportunity and we should seize the moment. Thank you.
Okay, any other board, public comment?
Letitia did stop in my office and she was gonna try to be here today, but she works for transit and had to go to work.
Thank you for telling us that. Board comments?
None here, Madam Chair.
No, I make a motion, we approve.
Support.
Okay, call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda is Rodney McCormick, 617 Union Street is requesting 2 streetlights to be placed in the alleyway of Emily Street and 1 streetlight to be placed in the alleyway of Union and Emily Street on the end towards Purdue Street due to public safety concerns. I think you were also asking for lights at Lamb Court and 7th Street. Is that correct?
That is correct. 1 light.
All right, so that's what's before us. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Rodney McCormick, 617 Union Street. I'm here because I'm part of a group of citizens who want to make Michigan City safe. I live over in the Canada area. We call it Canada. We having a lot of problems. Mr. Mayor been over there a few times. We had an elderly woman who had a brick through her window. Kids were able to get away. She was hit in the head. She was in the hospital for a week and a half. New renovations that was done on that same on Emily Street was every window was smashed out. Now on the end of Emily Street, another house that just recently sold, all the windows smashed out. We have illegal dumping, which you see this. We have signs already that's been posted there. I guess the signs probably went out in 1970. No dumping, but still dumping. Still ongoing problems. We have a lot of elderly individuals in our neighborhood. On the end of Union Street and the alleyway on Union and Emily Street, we have 2 individuals that are in their 80s. They feel unsafe. It's scary. It's very dark. And they have to take their toters out there, and they have to dump their garbage. It's scary. Some of the parking is in the alleyway for a lot of our residents. It's very troubling. We have done everything we can to work with the Michigan City Police Department, first of all. We turned over video footage. We called the mayor's office. The mayor came out. We worked with the building inspectors. We did everything we can possibly do as citizens of our community. And yet, there's no resolve to this. Criminals like to operate in the middle of the night when it's dark. If you try to go down any one of these 2 alleyways at nighttime, it's scary. And unfortunately, our citizens have to go back there to dump their garbage. You have to go through there because you have to get out of your car and go into your house. It's very, very scary. That's why you have a lot of the parking on Emily Street, people parking on the sidewalk. I wouldn't want to go in the alleyway either. This has been going on way too long in our city. I've been there for 24 years. We don't ask for too much of nothing from the city. We figure the city is not going to do nothing anyway. But now the time has come for us to ask and to get some results. With that being said, Lamb Court is the other issue. I received phone calls from residents. And by the way, I went to every resident's door and I asked, is this something you want? They said yes, every one of them. I went to Lamb Court. I had some family members call telling me about a shooting that happened on Lamb Court, another shooting on Lamb Court. Just like, believe the 3rd incident within 1 year. A young lady was struck in the neck, grazed by a bullet, somebody shot in the leg, and I don't know what happened to the 3rd person. This has been going on and on and on. The corner of 7th and Lamb Court is very, very dark. Some of the biggest problems is the trees have grown down so much where the light won't even reflect down the street no more. But there's no light on this particular corner at all. And in your photos, you have a photo of a house and it shows a security camera. That camera is pointing directly down Lamb Court, which the homeowner would have more than happy to give it to the police to assist them, but it's so dark, the camera can't pick up. That's not enough light to help the camera to operate. Shooting after shooting, crime after crime, right there by New Hope Church. It's sad. All we're asking for is some lights, the opportunity to be safe in our community, for our senior citizens to live the rest of their life in peace and feel safe in the neighborhood that they live in. Most of the people over in our neighborhood, they own their homes. Our ward member I'm our ward member. We have to get this done. We have been waiting, illegal dumping, the trash. We pick up we do our part. Me and my kids, we'll go out there and rake it up, clean it up. Don't complain. We don't want no recognition. We don't need no cameras. We don't need to be on Facebook doing what we're supposed to do. Sean Smith and Ted Woodard and some of the other street department workers, they seen the need and came and did a lot of cleaning. And they pulled out a lot of tires out of the woods because of illegal dumping and other things. They're doing their part, but now we need some lights. So board, you can send the police over there if you want to, do whatever you have to do. This problem also goes on to the park, which I am going to the park board meeting about also. But these alleyways are too dark and people I wouldn't park in the alleyway. So I'm here to answer any of your questions. If not, I'm going to have a seat. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'd like some input from Captain Lineski and also Brad, if you would come up.
Yes, I did get a chance to look at the area. Normally, as a general practice, we don't install streetlights in alleys because it can get kind of costly because normally there's not utility poles in the alleys for streetlights to be installed. However, in this case, the utilities for both Emily and Union Street run through the alley. So there's plenty of poles, NIPSCO poles in that alley to install this overhead lights. So we would recommend approval of that request, that portion of the request. As far as land court, we would also recommend approval of that street light request. Currently, our general practice is to install street lights at each intersection, and that intersection does not have a street light. And just east of there at Huron and 7th, there's also no street light. So I think both intersections would benefit from the installation of a street light at this intersection.
Thank you for that. Brad, do you have anything to add?
Brad Minnick, Premier Engineers. I just had an opportunity to go to LED lights, which are much more efficient, and I can add it to our growing list of streetlight additions that we have active with NIPSCO.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Any other public comments?
I'm sorry, Rodney, my question was answered.
Okay.
I was going to ask you what you were looking for at Lamb, but it was answered.
Board comments?
A motion to approve.
I have a comment or question. On one of the pictures, it shows some tracks from what looks like a front end loader. Was that when the street department came down and did their work, or
Yes,
somebody else in there?
No, approximately 10 days ago, they came out, removed a lot of stuff, and they got a lot of work still to do, but it's significantly improving.
And another question might be for Mayor. You spoke about trees hanging over the existing lights. Is that a street department? Would that be the street department to trim those trees?
That would be a street department issue.
And I don't see anybody from the street department here. So can that be communicated back to get those trimmed up?
This will be taken care of.
And another comment and question I have is, this portion that we're talking about of the neighborhood, does it back up to the sanitation district?
I don't know who owns that property, but it might be the sanitation. They take care of it. So,
I guess I'll just ask a general question because I don't see anyone here from the sanitation district either. But how is their property maintained? Do they keep their fence line cleared out? Do they have their empty lot somewhat lit? And is there cameras there?
I don't know about, sorry, go ahead.
It's clean. Their property is clean. the city owns a lot of property on Union Street and the fence line. They own a lot that has never been taken care of. But Sean Smith, he came out. They did a great job cleaning up a lot of it.
Sounds like he's got more to do.
Yeah, he has
right? It's an ongoing.
It's a start. It's a start.
Okay.
It's been neglected for. We are probably the most neglected neighborhood in our city, but it's coming. The mayor, you guys, people are bringing attention to it, and things are changing. And when I spoke about the lights blocking the glow from the lights, that is basically on the west side, 3rd Ward, 7th Street. It's terrible. I mean, we have a street light here or there, but because the trees are hanging so low, it won't reflect. And I'm like everyone else, and we want law and order. And we want these people to be caught and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. So this will help out the homeowners that got the security cameras who wants to cooperate with folks. Thank you.
Okay, I'll second the motion.
Okay, then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda is Tommy Kalavic, 1316 Ohio Street, is requesting a no U-turn sign in the northbound lane of the 1400 block of Ohio Street for public safety. Good morning, Tommy.
This is Tommy Kalavic, 1316 Ohio Street. Hear ye, hear ye. I am requesting that the 1400 block of Ohio Street shall be deemed dangerous and a no U-turn traffic sign be posted facing the northbound lane. I have a compilation video showing what the motorists are constantly doing, proving why the 1400 block of Ohio Street shall be deemed dangerous and why a no U-turn traffic sign should be posted facing the northbound lane. This time I'm going to cite Indiana Code 9-21-8-21 motor vehicles. A person who drives a vehicle intending to turn at an intersection must do the following. Make an approach for a left turn in part of the right half of the roadway nearest the center line of the roadway. After entering the intersection, the person who drives a vehicle must make the left turn so to leave the intersection to the right of the center line of the roadway being entered. I'm going to ask Mr. Drew White from Access LaPorte County to show my video to the board.
He already has, Tommy. Thank you. Thank you.
Reciting your line.
Okay, Captain and Brad, do you want to come up too?
Yes, we would recommend approval of the request as the NICD project progresses. I anticipate that we're probably going to get more concerns on some of the other streets that intersect with 11th Street too. So I think eventually we're going to have to install these on all of the cross streets.
Thank you. Brad, did you have anything?
Nothing further to add. I'll just work with Captain Jeff.
You concur?
Yes.
All right, then any public comments? Any board comments?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda is a request for streetlight. Brad Minnick, Premier Engineers Limited, is requesting to remove a streetlight at 1701 Michigan Boulevard, where the Dunkin' Donuts parking lot will provide ample lighting for Butler Street and Michigan Boulevard. Brad?
So you should have in front of you an application. They came to me from NIPSCO requesting the removal of the street light, partly because the power pole that feeds it is in the middle of the proposed driveway for Dunkin' Donuts. So 2 birds with 1 stone in that effort. Also, the anticipation is that the new Dunkin' will better illuminate the intersection than the existing streetlight. So my proposal would be to remove the streetlight and the adjacent pole that feeds it to allow that construction to continue.
Thank you. Any public comment? Board comment?
Make a motion to approve.
Support.
Call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda is a request for NIPSCO Power. Brad Minnick, Premier Engineering Limited, is requesting to add the NIPSCO Power to the traffic lights at the southwest corner of 11th and Wabash Street.
Good morning. Just yet another application to service a traffic signal in relation to the NICTY double track project. Again, the billing would go to the controller's office here at City Hall as part of the new installation.
Are there any public comments, board comments?
No, make a motion to approve.
Support.
I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. The next item on the agenda is a street closure request. Kevin Craigbine, Walsh Herzog is requesting a street closure on Willard Avenue between 10th and Green Street to install DT track crossings for double track projects starting immediately for 5 to 6 weeks. Kevin, address yourself.
Hear me? Can you hear me, board?
Yes.
Good morning, board. Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, I'm doing a request for a street closure of Willard Avenue between 10th and Green Street. We're going to go ahead and do some underground utilities there and also put the double track crossing through there. We're looking for the work to take about 5 to 6 weeks. I sent the detour plan and I went over it with Brad Mimick a little bit. I sent it over to Chief Lineski. I know he was on vacation last week. I wasn't sure if he had a chance to look at it, but basically we're just detouring down Sheridan Avenue.
Thank you.
So,
Captain, have you looked at that plan?
Yes, we're fine with the detours required work, so.
Brad, did you want to add anything?
I concur.
Thank you. Any public comments? Board comments?
Make a motion to approve.
Support.
I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda is the payroll docket for July 15, 2022. A city payroll of $696,711.27. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Support.
I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda is the claims docket for July 18th, 2022, municipal claims of $2,202,634.08. CDBG, that's Community Development Block Grant, $43.95. Health and Life Insurance Fund, $51,168.29. Workers' Comp Trust, no, that's zero. Total claims, $2,253,846.32. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve for the amount stated.
Second.
We call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item is the pending items list. The first item on the list is the matter concerning the donation of undeveloped land by MC Acreage LLC. The land is near the intersection of Barker Road and Eddy Street. It's as is, subject to easements and restrictions of record. Amber, have you and Skylar met on this?
We are still waiting for Attorney Zakanow to provide us with a copy of the unrecorded agreement that is referenced in one of the easements. So I reached out to Attorney Zakanow last Friday, and he's still waiting on his client to get him a copy of it.
Thank you. So this will remain on the list.
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is Brad Minnick, Premier Engineering Limited, is requesting a fee proposal for a crash analysis on Woodland Avenue.
Good. A lot of pending items. Okay. So this was on the board initially back in December, my understanding. And so I met with Captain Jeff 2 weeks ago and received the over 90 traffic accidents the last 6 years on this stretch of Woodland. And in order to plot them out and model the accidents to determine the frequency and nature of them, and move forward with a recommendation that would be covered under the attached fee proposal. And approximately a third of them, 31, 32 of them were rear-end accidents. So that would be a comprehensive look at that corridor and recommendations.
Okay, and the cost.
The cost would be, I believe, $19,500, what the fee proposal says.
Okay. All right. And this is to be performed by your firm.
Yes.
All right. Any public comments? Board comments?
Madam Chair, I have a question for Engineer Brad. Your initial, and Captain Lineski, your initial review of this, were the majority of the accidents between Greenwood and Cool Spring, or were they between Cool Spring and Barker Road?
They were spread out along that corridor.
Very evenly?
Yep, I didn't plot out where each of the 90 accidents happened. That was over a 6-year period.
Okay, the reason I ask is it's between Greenwood and Cool Spring that I'm looking at repaving it, and if I use the correct term, Captain, breakouts, where we have the situation where you're entering on the west side, FedEx, and on the right side, Michigan City Area Schools bus terminal. That's, I suspect, to be a real bad area. I've driven that. But because of the storm drainage situation in that area, putting a third, not only the storm drainage, but the number of intersecting streets, I don't think I could justify a separate traffic lane, a separate left turn lane, but the breakouts really seem like the way to go.
Correct.
So I'm interested in that section, well, the whole thing really, but I was wondering about the area from Cool Spring to Barker Road also.
That's going to be the most cost-effective solution, is to put a blow-by lane,
lane, okay,
or a bypass lane, where if somebody's northbound and turning to the west, traffic could pass them on the east and then return to the travel lane.
It'll have to be a little bit more sophisticated because the two intersecting roads are right in line for traffic coming out of those.
Right.
Yeah, so but I think it's the way to go.
Yeah, rather than build a, like they did on US 20 a few years ago, the center turn lane by Evergreen Plaza and so forth. That was a exceedingly expensive project. I think $13 million for NDOT, and that's more than what I think Michigan City needs to largely resolve this problem.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Madam Chair.
Do you have any?
I do not. Make a motion, we approve and move on with study.
Support.
Okay, then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda, Brad Minnick from Muir Engineers Limited is requesting a permanent street closure on Holiday Street. That's due to the quiet zone or noise abatement with the South Shore. Is that true?
Yes, that's correct. We're revisiting this from the last Board of Works meeting. Again, just to recap, the proposed concrete medians in lieu of quad gates at that location. A couple questions came up from Michael at that time. How long is the delay between the exit gates closing and the entrance or approach gates closing? And I was told by Venish, that's doing the study as part of the double track project, that they have cameras that scan the area of the tracks. If there's a car present, the exit gate will not close until that car crosses through the tracks. And then at that time, when that zone of the tracks is clear, the third and fourth gates, the exit gates for each direction close. So as to prevent anybody from being trapped inside the four gates. if that answered your question about that.
Yes, thank you.
And then in terms of cost impact, the proposed concrete medians are just under $47,000, and the proposed quad gate systems are just under $328,000. And there's additional engineering costs associated with the quad gate systems. So the total savings to Michigan City, if you went with concrete median and the existing gates that are out there, approaches $300,000 in savings.
Very briefly.
Right in McCormick, 617 Union Street. I was in on this discussion as well. I said again that we're doing things without asking the residents. I took it upon myself and I presented this to the city council last meeting on Schofield's Court, house number 120, 123, 121, 119, 107, and then going on to Dickerson Street, 129, 121, 122, 136, 142, and 144. These people were to be directly impacted. Every one of them said no, they do not want their street shut down. It would cause them to drive all the way up to the boulevard, do a U-turn, come back around to get down Gray Street or whatever. This is my only concern about this. We've done so much for South Shore Double Track program and all that. They should pay for this. They should pay for this, and they shouldn't inconvenience any more of our residents. I have to fight for them. I did my part. And Mr. Dabney, First Ward, at that council meeting, like you had suggested that I go to, and I said my piece. He told everybody in the public that no part of Holiday Street will be shut down, which was totally not true. And we're sitting here saying that they're going to shut down part of Holiday Street. I'm asking you to please, let's do what's right for the citizens that will be immediately impacted. And I will also add that none of these people are renters. All of them own their homes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brad, did you, well, go ahead, Tommy.
Tommy Kolovic, 1316 Ohio Street. I don't think anything should be done at that crossing. Eastport, that's the most densely populated section of our city, and that's not covered under the bill that the governor signed into law about the double track. The double tracking project ends at Michigan Boulevard. I know Mike Nolan from NICTA, he wants Gray Street shut down. I've even asked him that, and he said yes. I just don't think anything should be done there. Thank you.
Thank you. Brad, did you want to respond?
I haven't talked to the residents he listed, so I shared with him after the meeting the aerial map for the one block of Holiday Street that would be closed between Schofield and Grace. And like I said, I haven't talked to them.
Did you note any the number of residents that are going to be impacted by this?
Just from his list this morning. Yes.
Just those. Okay. All right. Any board comments?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
For Mr. McCormick, when you did your survey, I know we all started this conversation, even at the council meetings, about doing what's right for the public.
Correct.
And I appreciate you going out and asking the folks that will be directly impacted by a road closure.
Correct.
Were they asked, or was anyone asked their feelings with a quiet zone? Would they rather have the street open and the horns blow, or would they like the horns stopped and the street closed?
Brad gave me a map showing the street. I took the map. It had a red cross out what was going to be taken out. And I told them that this is for the South Shore. And they said they don't care about the horns blowing. They have bigger problems with the house shaking. They had problems with policing. I said, I'm only here just to ask, do you want the road closed? Every one of them said the exact same thing.
So we're if I'm hearing you correctly, we're doing the quiet zone for the residents in the area. And if the residents in the area do not wish to have a quiet zone, then this is not a viable project.
And I say, feel free, go knock on the door like I did. I knocked on every door, and it only took me 25 minutes. I had to listen to some other complaints, but I got through it. It didn't take me long. I was by myself and I wrote them down. So thank you.
Any other comments?
I'll make a motion to deny this request.
I'll second.
I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Vincent,
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda is Rodney A. Dumas, 106 Crestwood Drive, requesting approval of a mobile vendor license application from 6/2/2022 to 12/2022 at Reynolds Automotive, and I believe Mr. Dumas is here today.
Morning, my name is Rodney Dumas, 106 Crestwood Drive. I am the owner of Hot Rod Snow Cones, and I believe you guys have some questions.
Amber, there was some missing information you needed.
Well, I believe one of the questions was, what specifically are you going to be selling? Because there are other restaurants in that area, and we did not want you in competition if it's similar food items.
Hot Rod Snow Cones, we sell snow cones and popcorn.
That's it.
That is our menu.
And is that the only location you plan on selling at?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any board comment on that?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Call for the vote. Mayor Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, Brad Minnick, Premier Engineers Limited, is requesting culvert at 945 South Woodland Avenue. And I believe that you were waiting for a third quote. Is that true?
That's correct. And I had shared the information I had received from the sanitary district with the sanitary district, and they have enough to proceed with the low bidder due to my due diligence. So that low bidder is under contract and they'll be performing the work.
Okay.
And I don't have a schedule yet in
Okay.
terms of the street closure necessary to complete the work.
Okay. Then perhaps we ought to just leave this on a pending items list.
Yes.
So you have the schedule. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is the matter of Carrie McGinty, 225 Charles Street, requesting the purchase of property owned by the city located behind their property at 932 West Sixth Street. I believe we were waiting for a survey to be done and a legal description.
We're still waiting on that.
Then we'll leave this on. Next item on the agenda is the Councilman Don Prespolinski addressed the board with concerns for public concerning the traffic islands by Blue Chip Casino. Brad, I know you've been working on this. Is there anything you can update us on?
Unfortunately, I still have not received a response from NDOT, so I'm going to try other channels at NDOT to get the work resolved.
Okay, we'll leave this on. The next item on the agenda is, well, go ahead, sure. Well, we understand.
Anyway, Councilman Don Prespolinski, 215 Gardena Street. I brought this before the board, I don't know, January, maybe mid-February. And I went out there this morning before I came to the meeting to see what kind of progress has been made. I believe that they did come and put some markers in, but as of today, there's 5 markers that are missing from the Wabash Street section over to Michigan Boulevard section. In the intersection at Michigan Boulevard and Highway 12, there's 3 markers missing. And then from Michigan Boulevard over to Blue Chip, there's 3 markers missing. So there's a total of 11 markers missing. And in addition to those markers, I also think a safety issue with that whole entrance into Blue Chip Casino. And I know that's not part of this, but where it goes down on Highway 12 as you're coming west, where it goes from 2 lanes down to 1 lane, and they got that ridiculous turning triangle that whoever decided to put that in there was ridiculous to me. That needs to be restriped because all the paint markings and everything else that were initially installed there, they're all wearing off. And to me, it's a dangerous situation when you got 2 lanes coming into one and they give you 40 feet to make your decision. So I hope you can put that on the agenda also to get that fixed by NDOT. Thank you.
Thank you. Any board comments?
None here.
Then let's put that matter of the lease. Yeah, please. Okay. Next item on the agenda is Michael Vinson, 2402 Greenwood Avenue, is requesting lane reconfiguration to create a center turning lane on Woodland Avenue between Barker and Cool Spring. Is there anything on this?
No, this is the same as the study that Brad's doing.
That's what I
Yeah.
assumed.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
great. Thank you.
All right. Next is public comment. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes. All comments are to be addressed to the board president and to individual board members. All comments must be germane to and within the mandate and authority of this board. I believe that we have one comment. Why don't you step up, Mr. Bush?
Thank you and greetings to the board. I'm Davis Bush, 2409 Ohio, long-term resident of Michigan City. There's increased public safety and requesting a stop sign at Ohio Street and Indiana Ave. It's already a bus stop and school crossing, as well as another bus stop and school crossing, school bus stop is at Roberta, which is one street north. These have been basically abused by speeders, and the police department could pull records and find many arrests there are in that area. Multiple speeders, like I was saying, they're heading south from the CSS tracks and going as fast as they can until they reach Earl. Stop sign would help slow down the traffic, increase public safety for children. The Indiana and Ohio Street crossing there is a major crossway that people use for their children to go to Knapp School, play in the playgrounds, utilize that service. I've witnessed a lot of stuff, including a gentleman who passed the school bus prior to the cameras being installed. I also reported police photographs. I don't know if that was followed up on, but that was just after the law was passed. Increased fines were installed. So that is it. I'm just requesting this in the light of public safety and protection of our children. There was, many years ago, a child killed at this crossing.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
One last question. Do you have any sense of the speed that?
Yes, I do. One of my nephews has a child speed gun, and I've been able to hit people that are way over 50 miles an hour in that route, way over, especially the motorcycles. Just as a wild guess, without using that speed gun on them, I'd say greater than 80 miles an hour. Okay, and I do commend the police department for the arrest in the area. It's very important.
Thank you very much for bringing this.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Captain.
This matter I just got this morning, so I haven't had time to study it yet. As far as the school bus violations that are occurring, I can't address that. Earlier this year, we worked with the Port County Prosecutor's Office to establish a procedure for enforcing the cameras on the buses. Most of the, if not all of the Michigan City area school system buses now have cameras. So on a weekly basis, I visit the school bus garage on Woodland Ave. I obtain all those videos and I issue citations to all the violators. To this point, I'm guessing we've got about 3 dozen tickets that we've issued off those cameras. For the second matter, the stop sign, as we stated numerous times before, stop signs aren't recommended by the MUTCD as a speed control device. However, I will take a look at that intersection to see if there's other issues that might justify the installation of a stop sign there, such as sight lines, things like that. So we would recommend this matter be referred to myself and the city engineer.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion?
Motion to table this for one period.
Second.
Till our next meeting.
Thank you.
Yes.
Call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well.
Morning. My name is Richard Starry, 838 Odell Street. This is Madam President. This is just regarding an issue that I came here before the board about Knowles, Sons and Tree Service. I'm here just to acknowledge the great work you guys did, swift work by the mayor, meeting with them, Mr. Vincent, outstanding work by the captain, doing work with these people because they continue being very, they want to continue breaking all the regulations and everything from the city, but captain here tries to enforce everything they can. Mr. Skylar too, you guys are outstanding. So I really thank you so much. And talking to the neighbors have been trying for more than 20 years address this here at City Hall with 0 results. And mayor actually acknowledged that there was no ever complaint registered. And my fellow neighbors, they are actually extremely happy what's happening there. Life is becoming more close to normal. We are, being able to breathe a little bit better. And again, I cannot, the work that Captain Jeff is doing, it's unbelievable. He goes there and relentlessly, Ms. Sue Downs, Mr. Skylar, and the meeting mayor had. And I know it's an uphill battle with them because they, according to the neighbors, for 20 years, these people been this tree service is encroaching in things, sorry, and sneaking in and doing things all against city regulations, but nobody ever checked on them. And this is the first time that you guys are doing something, and it's I cannot thank you so much, and your work is outstanding.
Thank you for your kind words.
Thank you so much. And also a little side note, I'm in talks with some of the neighbors that own several of the undeveloped lots there. The same neighbors that complained several times that nothing was being done, they were all very reluctant in doing anything development of the city because of these people, Knowles, Sons, and all, their completely disregard to law and everything else. And they think they own the city. And they were the neighbors wanted to invest in redeveloping this, putting new homes and things in there. And we are in talks and doing that because now the city is really working on that. I talked to Mr. Skylar too. My corporation actually secured several lines of credit, and we are ready to go and say, one of the neighbors alone owns 16 lots there that we are trying to work on it. They were just reluctant because of this tree service that, creates this huge disregard to everything and noise and pollution and everything. But things are really improving.
Good.
So thank you so much for myself and all the neighbors.
Thank you for that report.
Thank you, sir.
Don Prispolinski, City Councilman at Large, 215 Gardena Street. And just to address the gentleman that just spoke from Odell Street, I'm glad to say that City Attorney Amber LePage brought that ordinance, asked me to sponsor it, and I did along with City Councilman Gene Simmons. So I'm glad to help that neighborhood out. Just a few other things that I'd like to bring to the board's attention. And I think this is germane to what the board does. I don't know all the rules and regulations, but for one, the lot that the city owns at the corner of 5th and Pine Street, where that development was supposed to go in, where Memorial Hospital used to be. I know that we have a boat show coming up here. Plus, we have residents or visitors that visit our city every week, every day. I believe that the ordinance for the height of grass and weeds is 6 inches or 8 inches. I believe that grass and those weeds are 12 to 14 inches. I believe that lot needs to be cut and maintained better. Also, I addressed the board back in March, possibly, about the bubble pads and the ADA accessibility pads in Franklin Square and getting those installed on the corners. The board was going to look into it. and I haven't heard anything about that since that's been addressed to the board. So I'd like to get an answer on that because, and I hope it's not going to say that we can't afford it or it's not needed, because it is needed. Just the other day at a meeting I was at, Clarence Hulse addressed the group that there's going to be 5,000 more people moving into the city, possibly moving in to the downtown area with this double track. We have to make this downtown area accessible to everyone. You know, people with physical disabilities, whatever it may be, it has to be accessible to everybody. And downtown Michigan City is not ADA compatible when it comes to ADA rules and regulations. And we need to be a progressive city. We need to get that done for all the residents of Michigan City. So if I could get an answer to that within the next couple of weeks, I would greatly appreciate it. The NIPSCO lights on the roadways that I see around Michigan City that are purple instead of being white LED lights. I've heard, because I haven't asked the board the question, I've heard that it's due to a shortage of the supply chain. They're waiting to get parts in to fix these lights. Well, here's my point. NIPSCO is supposed to provide the city, and under contract to the city, street lights that work, not street lights that are malfunctioning. And we should not pay, and NIPSCO should prorate their bill that they're going to charge the city for the length of time that these lights have been malfunctioned. So I would appreciate a letter being sent to NIPSCO and how this is going to be dealt with. And when it comes to paying the NIPSCO bills, I believe the board pays the NIPSCO bill. I'm not sure. Does the board pay the NIPSCO bill? Then we should not be paying NIPSCO whatever they charge us for these lights, because we're not getting our money's worth out of these lights. They're on Franklin Street, they're on Cleveland Ave. Those are the main arteries I've seen. So we should not be paying NIPSCO exactly what they're charging us. And lastly, I know that there was some type of power outage that was caused by the work being done around 11th Street and 11th and Washington that caused, I guess, street lights to be out in the downtown area. Marquis Electric was dispatched by the city to go repair that. Marquis will probably wind up billing the city to pay that, but the city should not pay that bill because that was caused by work being done by a contractor on the double track. It was Midwest Electric. I guess that's the electrical company working on that project. That was their doing. They should pay for it. The double track project should pay for it. The city should not pay one dime. And I would appreciate when that bill comes through exactly what that bill looks like from Marquis and who's going to pay that bill. So there's two things that I'm requesting as a city councilman from the Board of Works. And that is, number one, where we stand with the bubble pads and the ADA accessibility on Franklin Square. Number two, the NIPSCO lights that are purple and who's paying the bill. And number three, the power outage at 11th Street and who's going to pay that bill. And not only for myself as a city councilman, but for the residents of Michigan City. They shouldn't be paying for these purple street lights that have been purple now for a couple months, or maybe longer. Okay, and everyone in this room knows exactly what I'm talking about, because we all drive up and down Franklin Street. We all drive up and down Cleveland Ave, but yet these lights are purple. And Michigan, and even if we got to go back and look at the bills that NIPSCO has paid us since these lights have been purple. We should not be paying these bills because NIPSCO is not giving us what it's contracted for. So I would appreciate a response to that so that I can take it back to the city council meeting and address residents of Michigan City on where we stand with that. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Okay, let me recap what we've discussed here, what Don has brought up. First of all, his concern regarding the lot at Fifth and Pine Street that needs to be trimming. Do we want to put that on the pending items list?
Yes, that'll be taken care of.
Okay.
And that, maybe we need to get.
That's a vector control.
Yeah.
Vector
Well,
control.
also.
Apparently it's a redevelopment commission.
Yes, I've already called them. They're going to knock it down. They're going to kill it. I don't want them to kill it. They usually kill it because it'll cause a dust bowl is what it does. So they're just going to go mow it. It should be done in the next couple days or so. I've already talked to PRs about it.
Okay, let's just put it on the pending items list. Do I have a motion?
Yes, motion to put on the pending items.
Second.
Call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. The next item that you addressed was the bubble pads. That was brought up when we had a different city engineer. That was when Mr. Wright was city engineer. Brad, why don't you come up and address it? I don't know if you are aware of this situation.
Okay, so the ADA ramp inventory from 11th Street down, from 4th Street down to 9th Street will be part of the street conversion design for Franklin in that area. So the survey crew is actually out there this week taking inventory of the 80 ramps that are out there in terms of compliance. And if they're not in compliance, they'll be added to the construction effort to bring them up to compliance for Franklin Street in that area.
And when will that occur?
We were targeting a construction contract after Labor Day in the hopes of avoiding the tourism wave for folks bound to Washington Park and the lake. We were targeting this fall.
Thank you. I think this should go on our pending items list as well.
I'll make a motion to put it on the pending items list.
Second.
Call for the vote. Mayor.
Aye.
Aye.
Madam Chair, I would like to make a comment supplemental to what Mr. Merrick mentioned. As far as the paving goes, for the last 2 weeks, I've been looking at what we can pave this year. We are going to pave this year. The ADA intersections, we can't do those until after the Great Lakes Grand Prix and the block party because it'll make safety hazards. We did budget, as you were part of, Councilman, $100,000 a year for sidewalks. So that will be taken care of out of that fund. We've got the money's been budgeted, that will be taken care of. As far as the NIPSCO bill, that's on the claims docket of the council. It's not on the claims docket of the Board of Works. But those lights, they've been a topic of conversation for a long time. Mr. Klavik was probably the first one to mention them out on the Cleveland Avenue extension well over a year ago. And I was able to determine that that is a defective light that has been sold and installed throughout the United States. So it is a supply and demand issue. The demand is there, the supply is not there. We'll get those changed out, or NIPSCO will as soon as they can. But we may not like purple lights, but I did ask the question when we talked about in previous conversation, can you see the street? The answer was yes. Can you see the edge of pavement? The answer is yes. So we may not like purple, but we still do have visibility at night. And we will push to get those changed out as soon as possible. So I'll advise you as soon as we get notification that from NIPSCO that they have the lights and they're going to start changing them out. As far as the lights out between 8th and 11th, they were fixed and we're not paying that bill. That bill will come through us to NICD. Purple lights, 5th and Pine. Okay, I think we took care of all of them. Thank you, sir.
Okay, if I just may respond, my point was, I know that the lights will eventually get fixed, the purple lights. I understand that they'll eventually get fixed. Like I mentioned, it's a supply chain issue. What I'm saying is that NIPSCO's under contract to provide us with lights, white lights, not purple lights, so that we shouldn't have to be paying the full bill that they are sending us. And I think that possibly the city attorney can look into that and see if that's a legal matter. And if we don't have to pay it, then we shouldn't pay it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. And just one more thing, as far as lighting goes. I know that the city took the lights off the trees in downtown Michigan City because the trees were expanding. And then they had the park department put Christmas tree lights on the black poles on the street lights. If you ride down Franklin Street, which I did last night, there are, I don't know how many poles there are down there. So there's maybe 5 poles that have only 1 foot section of lights lit on them. All the other poles are dead. The lights are not working. So I don't know what the deal was down there, but our lights are not working down on, our decorative lights on Franklin Square are not working. And with that, everybody have a great day. I got to go. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. McCormick.
Rodney McCormick, 617 Union Street. Real quick, I want to address the problems that happen out in Lakeland with Knowles Tree Service. Knowles Tree Service is a small business that also does a lot of good things in our community. Just recently, they cut down 5 trees at the Martin Luther King Center. They also went into neighbors' homes and cut down trees that nobody else would cut down. They did it for free. I just want to say that it's a good thing that we all come together and we communicate. But I'm not going to sit here and continue to listen to out-of-towners coming here and bash people that's been living here all their lives. I'm standing with the residents who've been here all their lives. That individual that was here earlier, they said they live here, but all their plates got Florida plates and Illinois plates. I believe in the state of Indiana, you have a certain amount of time to turn your plates over to match with ours so we can get our taxes, so we can get those wheel tax, so we can get taxes in here to improve our streets. To continually say somebody's constantly violating the law is a bunch of BS. It's just a misunderstanding. When things go on so long and nobody's addressed it, and there's been no complaints made, but thank you guys for resolving that issue. And like I said, anytime we can open our doors up, to open up dialogue to improve things in our community, I'm for that. That's the way we resolve issues. Not coming here and calling people out of their names and constantly trying to bash someone. But I'm not going to continue to come to these meetings and listen to out-of-towners speak bad about our residents. On another note, we was talking about Highway 12, where it funnels down from F Street to Cook Street, and it funnels down where it gets to the Blue Chip. We have to do something about that. I've just recently seen a car who slowed down, the other car was speeding, and they had to run into the empty car lots that are there to avoid a major accident. We have semi-trucks flying through there, out of control, every morning, all morning. I don't even want to ride my bike over there no more. It's bad. It's hard to cross the highway. And you don't know if they're going to jump on the sidewalk or whatever. It funnels down to from 4 lanes to 1 lane to, I don't know. It's a mess. Something has to be done. The police used to be out there a lot, trying to do something with the speeders. It worked for a while, but the police got bigger and better things to do. I know public safety is number one. We have to figure out a long-term solution. These people come from Illinois, and they just don't know. They're not I don't know if they're accustomed to our streets or they're accustomed to doing things their way. The speed limit is 30, and they coming through at 50, 60 miles an hour. It's crazy. Somebody's gonna get hurt. I hope that we can look into that. We know it's been an ongoing problem, so I'm not gonna, just maybe we can come up with some kind of idea. Thank you.
Tommy Kolovic, 1316 Ohio Street. Kind of getting back to their honorary street sign for Bear Falls. The county has started a program a couple years ago where they started naming the bridges after exceptional LaPorte County residents. Last Wednesday at the commission meeting, 2 Michigan City residents were given a bridge. The bridge on Springland Avenue that spans over Trail Creek, that's going to be dedicated as the Al Whitlow Memorial Bridge. We all knew Al, he was just a pillar in this community. The second one is the bridge on 1000 North that spans over the Galena River. That's going to be named for Sergeant Robert Burkholz. He was a 1966 Elston High School graduate, got drafted into the Army. He went over to Vietnam and it says he paid the ultimate sacrifice. I just wanted to recognize that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anything else? Any board comments?
Just that I appreciate you mentioning the Robert Burkholz Bridge. Bob was my personal friend. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Well, having everything taken care of, I think we can adjourn.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have 2 things that I would like to mention, please.
Oh, certainly.
They escape me. Very important to me. First, I would like to read an email that I got from Miss Jackie Euler, our animal control director. After Saturday's fire on the west side of town at the warehouse, I'd like to have ACO Chad Denham listed. I asked Jackie for a list of all of her volunteer kennel workers who mobilized immediately and evacuated all the animals from the shelter to save them because the smoke was so intense. I'd like to have ACO Chad Denham listed. He was supposed to leave on vacation yesterday morning, but was running behind. When he heard that we were evacuating dogs, he stopped what he's doing and came to help. Officer Charo was a huge help as well. Russ Hatfield from MCPD Maintenance fostered a pup. Joe and Andrew Miller transported 2 dogs to LaPorte Shelter, as well as helped load other dogs into waiting AC trucks and volunteer cars. Amanda Mason from Michiana Humane Society fostered 2 pups. A volunteer that would prefer her name not be mentioned fostered 2 other pups, as well as helped to gather the volunteers to the kennels. My husband, John Euler, who is a volunteer, transported a dog to the shelter. The LaPorte shelter took 3 dogs into their already full shelter. So a special thank you to Director Eric Hayes for taking my phone call on his day off and making room. Everybody knows what a supporter I am of animals. These are great people that did this, and I thank them for that. Second one, very quickly, our lifeguards, who have since the 4th of July saved over 10 lives pulling them out of the lake. Special commendation to Brendan Balling, Dominic Dimke, Francesco Flores, Emily Gross, Randall Hallett, Luke Heitman, Sarah Heska, Connor Jewell, Juliana Kroll, Aaron McGuire, Nathan Middlebrook, Emma Miley, Owen Neisel, Ethan Pirgalski, Roman Pirgalski, Salvig Shimnaski, and Aiden Tharp. Thank you so much. You are the best. Thank you.
Do I hear a motion to recognize all of these people who have done tremendous work for the city?
So moved.
Support.
Call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. That being said, If there's no further business before this board, then I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Support?
Call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you all.